welterweight prospect Orion Cosce. What's going on, Orion? How's life right now for you at the UFC gym? I see you.
Yeah, I just got off work, decided to do some last-minute cardio, get some weight cutting in, and stay hydrated throughout. That way I'm not losing too much weight. And I feel good, though. I feel good. I'm tired right now, obviously, because it's my second workout of the day, but I'm more than ready for Tuesday. I feel strong still. It's one of those mental things you just got to keep on pushing through. Even when you're cutting weight, you feel low on carbs, and the brain's not really happy with you. Overall, though, I've been getting my fruits and veggies in, lean meats, chicken and turkey, and then especially fish. I have those omega fatties and the MCT oil for the coconuts. So I've been doing really good. I feel like this is my hardest weight cut yet, but I also feel like it's one of my easier ones. I started bigger, because during the off season, during COVID, I decided I was going to bulk up, get bigger, get stronger. But during that time, too, I was also maintaining my endurance. And so I feel a lot stronger, faster, and in better shape than I've ever felt in my life.
This opportunity coming up, like you said, getting that bulk on, did you feel like you needed that, when you do enter the UFC, like you have to be bigger for the weight class?
No, getting bigger, that was more so just for myself. I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to be stronger, because in the future, genetically, I'm not going to be able to stay at 170 for a long time. I'm probably going to eventually bump it up to 85s, whereas my brother, he's at 170 as well. He'll probably drop down to 55 for a couple of fights in the future, but he's a big boy too, so he's going to be bumping up to 170s. I feel like that'll be a great fit for him, where I feel like 185 in the future after I do some fights over the years at 170, and hopefully with hard work get that title, defend a couple times, bump up to 85 and do some defenses up there.
That's great, man. It's just all about health, I believe, man. Like, some fighters, they don't think about that and they just go with whatever they feel like they'll be strongest at. But, going up is, it's successful. A lot of fighters have been successful going from 170 to 85. So, I'm looking forward to that.
22, I've done catch weights at 75 and 80. I've done a fight at 85 and plenty of fights at 170. And honestly, I feel good at either one. 170, obviously I can rehydrate. I get up to about 188 or 190 the night of the fight. But it's not even me about putting on size for the matter. It's more so just making sure I'm healthy enough at that weight class. But at 185, I don't have to cut as much weight. I can still keep my endurance going. I don't have to worry about losing a lot of water weight. And I feel a little bit stronger. But the thing is, at 170, I'm faster. 185, I'm stronger. But, in between, if the UFC, because we hear rumors how they're going to do the 65, make the 70, 75, 85. Because with the lower weight classes, they have every 10. Whereas once you go past 155, it's every 15. And then after 185, I think it's 205. So it's 20. And then it's, heavyweight. I think eventually the UFC in about a year or two will dictate and decide, hey, let's start bringing in 65, 75, and even potentially 95-pound, weight classes. But we'll see what happens. Until then, I'm a fighter at 170 and 185, or even a catch weight in between.
Yeah, man, I hope they do that. What you just said, I hope they do that. Like, I'm wishing for that. But going back to, you and, growing up in Humboldt, I know you're an outdoorsy kind of guy. You've been living that lifestyle. I wanted to know, like, what aspects of that have carried over for you for your athletic career, being outdoors all the time?
That way that I can see how that light's like. Oh, my bad. That light in the background, I just noticed that how it's like kind of in and out. So I'll do my best to block it out for the video.
No worries.
But up in the woods, man, like if we rock climb on a certain rock and it's above the river, there's sometimes where you have to jump in the river. So you're learning some fear tactics, survival stuff right there. You're looking down, you're all, oh man, I should have thought about this before climbing up. Because, being young and dumb, you're just climbing shit. And then you're thinking, no, I'll climb back down. Then you look and you can't climb down because there's different angles. And you're like, fuck it, I'll jump. But growing up in the woods was awesome. There'd be times I'd go for a run or hiking in the woods, and I'd see some cubs, and I'm thinking, oh, fuck, there's a mama bear nearby. And I'm just starting to bolt it because that's how it is. I remember going for a run one time, and I saw a cub, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I heard a big-ass growl, and I see a mama bear coming up the hill, and I fucking start booking it back home. Turn around, and it's just sitting there with its cubs. So I got lucky it didn't chase me down because, let's be realistic, bears, where I'm from, they're fast as hell. They're super fast. And then, there's mountain lions and stuff too. So there'd be times where I remember, it's actually pretty funny. My dad, he took us to a family friend's right up the hill. And it was middle of the night, and we're just kids. But it's when that movie Blair Witch Project came out, and everyone thought it was real. And right as soon as the movie's done, we're all, fuck, we live in the middle of the woods. My dad's telling us this is some real shit right here. It says it on the TV. It's a real life thing. And, you know, there's not really much internet back then. My dad has the fucking audacity to tell me and my brother, little kids, 7 and 6 years old. Well, oh no, like, yeah, 7 and 6 years old, I think, because it was on a VHS or DVD or something like that, early days. He straight up looks at us. He's like, all right, boys, run home. Middle of the night. And we're like, nah. He's like, you got to run home. I'm going to count to 3. And if you're not out that door, I'm going to whoop your ass. 1. And we're just booking it. I don't think we've ever ran that hill so fast in our life. But, it just it helped shape us watching horror movies as a kid. It gave you like that fear psychological factor. So growing up, doing a lot of that outdoor wood stuff, swimming on our own, running around in the woods on our own, playing with scorpions, snakes, whatever critters we could find. We just had a blast growing up in the woods, us and our friends. So to us, that was just normal day living. To a lot of people, it's kind of like outdoor hick, woodsy stuff right there.
So when you trans over to sports, the anxiety is not as high, or intense as most other fighters or just individuals?
I just have fun with it, man. I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and one thing I remember watching Dragon Ball Z, Goku was always looking for the next best fight. He wasn't really a family man. He was like, all right, cool, Chi-Chi, watch the kids, make some food, but he just wanted to train and fight. He wanted to be the strongest, and he wanted to fight the next strongest person, and I respect that, like later on down the road when I have kids, I want to teach my kids how to defend themselves. When we grew up, we were training our butts off before we could even have a meal, or if we wanted a snack, be like, all right, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, go run a mile, then you can come back and have lunch. I was like, all right, cool. And I think that shaped us, to be a lot tougher and more disciplined than a lot of people in the UFC nowadays. I feel like a lot of people take it for granted, and just growing up doing wrestling as a sport, you learn to be used to it. It's different too. Like I played basketball, football, did track, golf, wrestling, every sport that you can think of. Played in a bunch of different positions in different sports, even baseball. And I just like to be, active. That was my thing. I just wanted to be active no matter what I did, whether it be, learning how to surfboard or even snowboard. I'm still learning how to snowboard. I've only gone snowboarding once. I picked it up fast, but it was fun. But with fighting, no, I don't ever get nerves or jitters. I just tell myself, hey, man, you want to be like Goku, you got to go out there and show the world you're like Goku.
Well, you transitioned from the Lost Boys in Humboldt to Team Alpha Male in Sacktown. What is the connection there? How did you end up there?
So going to Alpha Male started a couple of years back. Uriah Faber was a guest appearance person for one of the fights that we had up in Humboldt County that our gym put on. And it wasn't really necessarily our gym put it on. It was more so the gym owner also managed the fights up there. So, he did a very good job of being like, hey, you are going to be fighting one of my guys, but I won't be coaching them. He did a really good job about that. He knew that when it was time to coach, it was time to coach, but when it was time to be a promoter, he did a damn good job at not having his favorites. Obviously, he's our coach. He's going to have our favorites, but we always told him, hey, man, set us up with the best fights possible. And that's what he did. He always tried to get us the best fights possible. And, unfortunately, there's times when people canceled. But Uriah came up to watch with some buddies. And he noticed me and my brother fighting on that card. And when he watched us fight, he got super excited. He came out to the back. He watched us. He liked how we had showsmanship. He liked how we were aggressive. He liked how we went out and we were ready to fight. I'm like, he said himself, like a lot of fighters, they go in and they're kind of scared of getting hit. Whereas we went out there, we don't give a fuck. Excuse the language, but we don't care about getting hit. I'm going to take somebody's best shots. I've shown that in all my fights. I have my defense high, and if they're hitting my arms, that's fine. I'm used to that. I straight up never have sparred with anybody that hits harder than my brother, except for like heavyweights. I've sparred a couple of heavyweights before, and obviously they're going to have more power than my brother. But when it comes to people 205 or lighter, 215 or lighter, no one hits as hard as me and my brother. Like we hit pretty damn hard, and that's just because the way we grew up. And I feel like it helped a lot. So he got excited. I made the move down here after a couple of years, and it was one of the better decisions. I actually ended up almost moving back to Humboldt because, I was missing my family, I was missing my friends, but I stuck it out. I stayed around, and I get to travel up to Humboldt, train with my brother. He gets to travel down here and train with us at Alpha Male. So I think it's a good camaraderie to have both the connections for Team Alpha Male and Lost Boys together in case, Lost Boys, they want to come down to SAC, they can stay, and then they can train with me at Alpha Male and the other guys because they're all cool. They're a family. And then vice versa with Alpha Male. If they're ever in Humboldt County, I can give them my connections.
Team Alpha Male has that second wave coming. Who have you been working with at Team Alpha Male to get ready for your Contender Series fight?
Plenty of people, man. Uriah's been doing a great job at coaching. Holdsworth and Last Hall and all those guys, they're all phenomenal coaches. And, the team has definitely gotten better as it's gone on, and it's gotten more foundation, I feel like, instead of just one coach teaching one thing and another. Everything's on board, and it's been nothing but phenomenal work in there. And obviously, we just had a loss not too long ago with Munoz. I was training with him, but he was looking good. And, no excuses out of him. He's right back in the gym. He's ready to go. We got Corey McKenna. She just signed, and that was awesome to see. She won her fight in a good fashion against a very strong stripper opponent. But no, I've been working with, Luke Brewer. I've done some work with Chris Gonzalez in and there, but for most part, most of my work was with Munoz or Luke Brewer, Drell, and a couple of other guys. Overall, though, just picking and choosing. I've done some work with Yadong. He's a super cool dude, still working on his English, but at the end of the day, I'm still working on my Chinese as well. So one of the things, it's a family there. Great coaches, great training partners. No one's trying to be better than the other person. They're just trying to be better than they were yesterday. And that's how teams should be anywhere you go. You shouldn't be looking at somebody and be like, I want to be better than that person. You should be looking in the mirror and say, I want to be better than you.
Your opponent coming up, Matt Dixon, what is your assessment of him?
Athletic. I think he's a little bit slow, a little bit stiff. He does not like to get hit. I've said it in multiple interviews. I've seen his fight, a couple of times, and each time I watch it, it's kind of predictable. But at the end of the day, too, his last fight was right before COVID, and my fight was a couple months before COVID. So we've had time to reassess and do things. I don't know if he's seen any of my fights. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I expect him to try to come out heavy, but every opponent who's done that so far, I've rocked, I've taken advantage of. Maybe I finish it in the first or I finish it in the third. But I feel like I'm going to finish him in the first round. He doesn't like to get hit. He stiffens up, and then when he does, he shoots in. And I feel like that works for me because my grappling and my striking will be a lot better than his, especially my wrestling. He's got a good blast double, though. I'll give him that. Again, that goes back to athleticism. But you got to be willing to go in there, and you got to be willing to fucking hurt people. I'm in there to hurt people. I've snapped arms, I've broken jaws, and I have no problem going in there and just retiring somebody. To me, it is a sport, and I wish people nothing but a healthy career. But leading up to the fight, I'm trying to go in there and possibly kill this dude. I'm not sorry about it. If he dies, he dies. Dolph Lundgren. But at the end of the day, if they're healthy after the fight, we can shake hands, and I'll tell them, hey, man, good luck, and I'll see you in the future. I wish you nothing but the best in your career, because at the end of the day, after that fight, I do wish them nothing but the best. We don't want injuries in the sport. We want everyone to have long, healthy careers. But I don't know, man. It's just that weird mentality. I got to go out there and just end that fight.
Is that what separates you from all these other guys on the Contender Series? Is that mentality that you have? Is like you're going to go in there? Some people just say it, like kill or be killed. But do you really feel like that?
Man, I had a short notice opponent one time, Joe Cropshot. He was a tough dude. But he said in his interview, he's all, I don't know if he's willing to go in there and be willing to die, because I'm willing to die. And when I went in there, every time I hit him, he looked scared. Straight up. Even my brother said it. He said, fuck the ground game, bro. Knock his fucking punk ass out. And we didn't mean it in disrespect. We just meant it because we're in the middle of a fight. We're not homies. We're not homies till after the fight. And after the fight, we're not homies. Whatever, dude. We fought. We got it done. At the end of the day, it's business. But that's kind of how it is for me, man. I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and it's one of those things where the way I grew up, it's pretty rough for both my brother and I, but the way we see it, we're not going out there to be homies and play around in that cage. They're out there to hurt us too. And a lot of people, they say oh man, you shouldn't talk like that. But it's hey, my opponent's going out to do the exact same thing. He's going to try to knock me out. He's going to try to hurt me. He's going to try to, finish my career too. He doesn't want me, as we're fighting, to have a long, healthy career. He's thinking of one thing and one thing only, and that's to finish the fight or get out with the W. Whereas I'm getting in there. It doesn't matter how long it takes me. I won't leave it to the judges. I'm going to do whatever I can to finish the fight and make the person feel punishment.
One last thing. There's many different types of competitors in this sport. would you consider yourself more of a martial artist or a prize fighter?
Martial artist. I love this sport. Obviously, at the end of the day, I want to get paid and I want to be, making money for my future family and for myself. I work too hard to not get paid at something I'm good at. But at the end of the day, you're never going to be perfect at what you do. I've been wrestling for 20 years and I'm still working on my craft. I've been striking for over 10, jiu-jitsu for over 10. It's one of those things, I didn't start doing the gi until I was 18, 19 years old because I thought, man, grabbing clothes is for sissies. But then I just realized it's another form of martial arts. And for me, I just want to be better at every single aspect. So if I'm doing pure boxing, I'm working on just boxing. I'm not using it to set up my kickboxing. I'll use that in sparring. Or if I do kickboxing, I'm using a traditional kickboxing stance. But for me, it works better if I use my wrestling stance for my kickboxing. I feel more explosive, and I feel like it helps transition with both. And so at the end of the day, even like Muay Thai styles, karate styles, I see what I like, I take it, I add it to my arsenal, and I just perfect my craft. If there's something I don't like, I'll still work it anyway, because at the end of the day, you should still be working on the things you're not good at. Sorry about that. Someone's trying to call me.
Yeah.
But no, as a martial artist, I feel like there's a lot of room to grow. And even 10, 15 years down the road, when I'm all said, done, retired, they need to stop calling. It's going to piss me off. At the end of the day, I just want to be considered somebody who went out, was exciting, and one of the most dominant fighters of all time. And same with my brother. He wants the same dream, I'm pretty sure. And we just want to be known as fighters who didn't go out there and just lay and pray. We're not fighters who are going to go out there and just hold somebody down because we know we're winning the first 2-4 rounds. We're going to go out there and do what we can to finish the fight, because no one wants a boring fighter. They want somebody who's willing to actually fight and show that they are a mixed martial artist, not a fighter who wants to hold onto the belt and foot stomp everybody.
All right, man. August 18th, Contender Series, Las Vegas. Thank you, Orion, for the time. Good luck on the fight. Safe travels, and hopefully we'll be speaking soon.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully talk to you after I get that contract.